What's up, everybody? It's your boy Banky101 coming today with some epic news. So it looks like there's a company out there that got themselves on some leaked information for Infinite Warfare. There's a bunch of documents, well, not a bunch, there's a handful of documents that go over different aspects of what they think they have found and what they've gotten their hands on. And I'm going to go through all of that. I'm going to just highlight things. If I don't go into too much detail into it and you want me to, comment below, let me know. I'll make a separate video because there's a bunch of stuff and I want to get through all of it and not have you watch a 20-minute video. So with that said, we're going to jump into things right away. So the first document actually goes into talking about how there's going to be 3 different game modes. There's going to be zombies, which we should find out more about today. There's going to be ship assault, which is basically something, if you've watched any of the trailers or anything where the people are flying around, it's going to be like that. Something to note is that it's going to be limited to 4 players. Well, this is their interpretation. 4 players, but no matchmaking, so it have to be something where you're basically at home with somebody or something like that. Then 2, this is also beta stuff or whatnot, so they could have different aspects of it not built in yet. The cool thing is base building, which is kind of interesting. They've listed some stuff that basically makes it sound like a tower defense style game if you've played any tower defense game. I'm just interested in if this is going to be similar to a horde mode like Gears of War style, or if it's going to be similar to like a StarCraft style. Either way, we'll have to wait until there's more information, but that's that. They next drop it into some multiplayer maps. They talk about basically they're seeing some different stuff that looks like old MW2 and MW3 maps. There's a bunch of them listed. You can check them out, but some to note is Frontier, Proto, Skyway, Fallen, Breakneck, and then they go into Bootleg, Coastal, and Exchange. So they talk about some of that stuff, and I take it with a grain of salt basically because if they're using different maps, they could just be using them for playtesting. As people develop games, it's easier to just take something that's already built and playtest on that if it's going to be similar to what's going to be built, if they're still waiting on that to be built. So then there's game types. A lot of them are ones that we've seen already or we've played already. But the handful of ones to actually note, they've got a whole list of them that are unconfirmed, so they're not even worth talking about yet. But there's a modified version of Gun Game. There's going to be a modified version of Infected. And then there's new game types, which are going to be, it says Alien, Ship Assault, Alien Base Build, Zombie Horde, and then something called Frontline. And then they go into some very sad news, which is something that we all saw coming, is that basically we're going to be having supply drops again. We know this is coming because they made a shit ton of money off the current supply drops, so why wouldn't they put it into another game? I just hope that this new one, they have it fixed so that you're not dropping $100 to actually get a new gun. That's just ridiculous. I guess if people are paying for it, I don't personally pay for it. I would suggest you don't pay for that kind of stuff because it's not worth it. And by us actually paying for that kind of stuff, they end up putting it in the new games. So we're kind of stuck with it. On a lighter note, there's multiplayer loadouts. So that's a whole document that goes into weapon variations, customizations, but it looks like a handful of stuff's going to be very similar to what we currently have, where we can customize our guns a little bit, and then there's different abilities and cards based on how you want to play. But the one cool thing is that there's going to be archetypes. So like a medic, you can be a medic or you can be a sniper. I think old SOCOM games used to do this. Battlefield, I think, does this. And then basically you're going to base your character around that versus kind of what we have in Black Ops, where it's we've got different types of people with special abilities. You're going to be able to pick a different archetype and a class that fits that archetype. And then there's going to be special perks that are with that archetype. And then a couple last things that it actually talks about is The AI, how they're going to be boosting that up a little bit to make that a little more realistic. And one of the things that they talked about was when bots are playing, they're gonna actually call out when they see you in areas. So that's kind of cool. The main thing that they talked about at the end is that we're gonna have dynamic environments, which would be pretty cool. They do this, in other games that, as the walls collapse or something like that, it changes the building. So you might not be able to go through a door anymore. You'd have to blow a hole in a wall or something like that. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. It changes, the map is different every time that you play, so it's not always the exact same thing. So you have to change your style a little bit based on what's going around. So that's that. I'm going to leave all the links for what I read below. I would like you guys to take it with a grain of salt. It is kind of interesting to see what possibly could be in the game. Again, as a previous developer, I know that when you build new games, you're always using some bit of code that's in a previous game, and they could have some sort of mass kabobble of all their old games to help with people playtesting stuff as they build different parts of it. So if somebody got a hand on a bunch of code, it could be code from an old game, and it might not ever even be used. So take it with a grain of salt. Look at it as something very cool that could possibly be in the upcoming games. I wouldn't guarantee or deny any of it. It's all speculation at this point, even with this documents and stuff like that. Nothing's hardcore. So if you want me to go into any specifics on any of these, please feel free to comment below. Let me know, and I can make a separate video on those too. But like always, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.